We're living in the Twilight Zone. We're living in the
Twilight Zone.
These crazy days that we live in just cause me aches and pains. Lately, my life is like a season of Stranger Things. This place is flooded with demons and they invade your brains. This is an artificial hell and they create the flames. Day to day, I just try to stay strong and make it through. Wake people up from their slumber, that's what I came to do. Please don't believe what you see on TV and think it's true. It's all just targeted programming and it's aimed at you. It's everywhere, you're getting lied to and yet you barely care. People with common sense are now very rare. But the way that they brainwash you isn't very fair. They can shove that mind control programming up their derriere. I do not consent to the way they tailor society. Ain't no variety. Plus, I really hate when they lie to me. I use music as a tool to release the anger inside of me. You don't know how fucking crazy it's driving me. That we're living in the Twilight Zone. They claim you have freedom, but they don't honor it. The world is a prison and you're the occupant. We're living in the Twilight Zone. The government's useless and they're incompetent. And satanic pedophiles are prominent. We're living in the Twilight Zone. The things that you believe are the total opposite. And being called crazy is just a compliment. We're living in the Twilight Zone. It's ran by the New World Order conglomerate. But there's a storm coming and there's no stopping it. We're living in the Twilight Zone.
It's where we live and control you through fear and terrorism. They want to keep you in a mental prison where they tell you vision through the television. Where the ignorance is bliss and they just keep you dipping in it. You're a business, getting a citizenship. What did you really think that your birth certificate is? Get the straw man on. Money isn't paid, it's all a bank note. It's only a bill exchange when you pay that loan. Like a monopoly game, but you can't pass go. When you turn on the TV, all did you get politically entertainment? The news that you see is all suggested. Lower brain frequencies contribute to our stress. And you're responding, telling me that we're free living in this country. Military overseas and it's all for our peace. Just a record on repeat from the programming. I probably want a cracker. Put you through education for domestication, control of my pastor. Giving you medication to poison our masses. If you ever question what's coming from our masters. And you're rocking the boat, or you're ever having any thoughts of your own. You better hope you never caught rocking alone. To be locked up a road off. Body cold, looking like a sci-fi show. Berlin when the Wi-Fi's on. Airplane mode when I buy my phone. If your eyes wide closed.
We're living in a Twilight Zone. They claim you have freedom, but they don't honor it. The world is a prison and you're the occupant. We're living in the Twilight Zone. The government's useless and they're incompetent. And satanic pedophiles are prominent. We're living in the Twilight Zone. The things that you believe are the total opposite. And being called crazy is just a compliment. We're living in the Twilight Zone. It's ran by the New World Order conglomerate. But there's a storm coming and there's no stopping it. We're living in the Twilight Zone. I ask myself, why do I even bother? Cause people are just like sheep that are lining up for the slaughter. If they're killing rats with fluoride, then why is it in the water? They're using the news to fool us, divide us so they can conquer. The longer you stay asleep, then the longer I'm gonna scream at you. I can't believe you let them deceive you. It's inconceivable. I won't stop until you wake up and do what you need to do. This world is overran with an evil that is unspeakable. Most people don't know, so they just vote and pay taxes. The devil's hiding in the shadows and controlling their actions. And they think that the earth is a spinning globe on its axis. But I don't have any time to devote to this madness. I have nobody to relate to, so I ride alone. Just me and all these wild thoughts that are inside my dome. I feel like I don't belong here and I can't find my home. I'm tripping and I'm wishing it was different, but we're living in the Twilight Zone. They claim you have freedom, but they don't honor it. The world is a prison and you're the occupant. We're living in the Twilight Zone. The government's useless and they're incompetent. And satanic pedophiles are prominent. We're living in the Twilight Zone. The things that you believe are the total opposite. And being called crazy is just a compliment. We're living in the Twilight Zone. It's ran by the New World Order conglomerate. But there's a storm coming and there's no stopping it. We're living in the Twilight Zone.
And there's nowhere that we can go. Awaken now, I'm feeling all alone.
We're living in the Twilight Zone.
And the rest that remain asleep, sedated and still thinking that we're free.
We're living in the Twilight Zone.
And there's nowhere that we can go. Awaken now, I'm feeling all alone.
We're living in the Twilight Zone.
And the rest that remain asleep, sedated and still thinking that we're free.
We're living in the Twilight Zone.
So the fun thing with the serpent is, how does a serpent talk?
Whoa. Skip right over from focus. Okay, anyway. What's up, good people? Good to see you all here. Hey, Voynich, what's happening? What's happening? Disciple of Messiah 1, Sebzo. I tell you what, this probably is not going to be a long show because I just haven't been able to do the residue hunting like I used to be able to do, take hours and hunt for residue. But anyway, we'll get started. First, we're going to look over here at YouTube and see. I don't know if anybody's heard of Work Dove, but this channel, Work Dove. Down here today with somebody outside. Anyway, ancient Pacific trade between Asia and the Americas, Mandela effect. So I wanted to check that out. I haven't seen this yet. So I'll go ahead and click on that.
Mandela Effect family, I was just reading my daughter's homework assignment tonight, and I encountered a major Mandela Effect on the screen in her textbook. I just want to read out what it says here about trade routes. Japan to Ecuador, trade 3,000 years before Christ with pottery. Peanuts, South America to China, 800 BC. Jade, China to Mexico, 1000 BC. Wheeled toys, China to Mexico, 400 BC. Metallurgy, China to Ecuador,
That's
500
crazy.
BCE.
That's nuts.
Corn, Mexico to India, AD 800. I mean, these dates are impossible. There is no way that 3,000 years before Christ that there was trans-Pacific trade between Japan and South America. Like, that just did not occur in my timeline. And I'm absolutely just flabbergasted by this book. It's actually made it into the history books that this trade occurred, and it is absolutely a Mandela effect. This does not match my past. In my past, the first oceanic trade routes were with the Vikings around the year 1000, and they were only traveling in the North Atlantic. And then it was only the big sail ships from Europe from the 14th century on that started transiting the entire world. So this story about the age of Egypt, there had trade between Japan and Ecuador is beyond
silly.
my comprehension. It just impossible. That's it for today. Thanks, bye.
All right. Yeah, somebody's trying to rewrite history. Imagine that. All right, where are we at? Then, of course, a day ago, you had Sinbad's stroke brings forth a plethora of Mandela effect info. Meanwhile, we bring more proof. And that's the Dose of Reality show. Brian Stabley. Brian Stabley again there. Molex Farms. Okay. Awake in the Dream. Mandela Effect Conference IMEC. Why I was so upset over what happened, I know how hard it is when the first there. Alright, Wicked Witch from the West. Alright, anyway. Moving on. What you guys doing? How are you doing? Zebzo, Disciple, Voyage, JJ. What's up, guys? What's happening? Sailed the ocean blue in 1492 BC. Yeah. If somebody's messaging me. Okay. Or not. Alright, so did y'all hear about the Pope? Somebody that runs the Pope's Instagram, or the Pope himself, liked on this bikini model's picture. Well, I'm sure y'all heard about the story, but she thinks the bikini model thinks that she's going to heaven because the Pope liked on her picture. Simply because the Pope liked on her picture, this bikini model thinks she's going to heaven now, and she's apparently religious too. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, bless her heart. Anyway, God help her. Let me see what else. I think something else I wanted to share on here from the news. Okay. Anyway, we'll get going on the other Mandela effect residue. Bear with me here. All right, Smithsonian Institution is what it's called now, or actually, they're recently they've been calling it just the Smithsonian, but we all remember it being this right here, Smithsonian Institute, which it's never been, but was, and that is from just like a week ago. All right. And here we have KDKATV morning forecast 11:20. Yes, 11:20. Okay. Anyway, it says, oh, see, they done flipped it up on me. Imagine that. With whatever I had saved there. Let's see if we can go back. Okay, so that one's probably gone. Yeah, I don't like when they do that. They disappear. All right, so anyway, then this one here. How about this? Here's some Grand Central Station residue. Soldiers and Sailors Club, 3 blocks south of what? Grand Central Station, not Terminal. Yeah, you like that? And right there, it says it on the on this thing too, on the poster. 3 blocks south of Grand Central Station, not Terminal. Right here, Invention, Smithsonian Institute, not institution. See it right here? Invention, Smithsonian Institute. Yeah, not institution. There you go. All right. Positively Tampa Bay, Smithsonian Institute to Plant City. And you can hear and see this one.
Good afternoon, everybody. The Tampa Bay area has been selected by the Smithsonian Institute to be the first in...
By who? Who were they selected by? Let's find out. It was an institution.
Area has been selected by the Smithsonian Institute to be the first in Florida to receive the Journey Stories exhibit. It is quite an honor. Take a look. The traveling exhibit is part of the Smithsonian's Museum on Main Street program.
Imagine that. Now, this is from May of 2012, but it was never the Smithsonian Institute. It was always Smithsonian Institution. Not, but yes, they say. So there you have it from the news anchor. They've been selected.
Has been selected by the Smithsonian Institute to be
selected. Like the president puppets. All right, Smithsonian Institute, not institution, just released 2.8 million high-quality images for free. There you go. Right here, these images were sourced from 19 Smithsonian museums. Yep. Smithsonian Institute. All right, this is a little tidbit on James Smithson. He's the founder of the Smithsonian Institute. It's only 4 minutes long, so let's just watch it just to see what you can catch in there, if anything. Smithsonian.
When you think of the Smithsonian, you think of its spectacular museums like Air and Space, Natural History, American History, and the institution's iconic headquarters on the National Mall.
What happened? It's always something, huh?
American History, and the institution's iconic headquarters on the National Mall known as the Castle. But remarkably, very few know about the institution's founding donor and namesake, James Smithson, or that his body lies within the castle in an elegant crypt, built for an Englishman who...
Hey, man. Sure don't want me to show it, I guess. Oh, boy, I'm so sick of technical issues.
Crypt, built for an Englishman who never stepped foot in America, but whose generosity made the Smithsonian Institution a reality.
We got institution now.
James Smithson was born in 1765, the illegitimate son of an English duke. His mother, a wealthy descendant of Henry VII, made sure that young James was given the finest education.
I'm sure.
Smithson's passion was science. At Pembroke College in Oxford, he excelled at both chemistry and mineralogy. To pursue his passions, he traveled extensively throughout Europe conducting field research.
Mineralogy.
And at just 22 years of age, he was granted membership to the prestigious Royal Society of London. Over the next 40 years, Smithson published 27 scientific papers and was recognized as a highly accomplished chemist and mineralogist. In 1829, at the age of 64, James Smithson died in Genoa, Italy. A lifelong bachelor, Smithson willed his sizable estate to his nephew, Henry James Hungerford. It was an inheritance worth over $500,000, more than $12 million at current value. But in the event Henry died without an heir, Smithson's will stipulated the money would go to the United States of America to found at Washington the Smithsonian Institution, an establishment for the increase and diffusion of knowledge. The motive behind Smithson's remarkable bequest remains a mystery. He'd never traveled to the United States and never publicly expressed an interest to create an American version of the Royal Society. However, when his nephew Henry died in 1835 without an heir, Smithson's enormous donation was bound for the New World. In 1846, the United States Congress created the Smithsonian Institution as a trust to be administered by a board of regents. James Smithson's dream had become a reality. Over 55 years later, one of the Smithsonian's regents, Alexander Graham Bell, received some troubling news. James Smithson's burial site in Genoa was to be displaced to make way for a stone quarry. Bell moved quickly. In 1903, he received approval from his fellow regents to travel to Italy, exhume Smithson's remains, and transport them via boat to Washington, D.C. When Bell returned to D.C. in January 1904 with Smithson's remains, President Theodore Roosevelt sent the Marine Corps Band to welcome him. Roosevelt also ordered the U.S. Cavalry to provide a horse-drawn carriage to bring him from the Navy Yard to the Smithsonian Castle. Once Smithson's coffin was safely housed in the institution, Bell said, "My mission is ended, and I deliver into your hands the remains of this great benefactor of the United States." Today, James Smithson's crypt rests in a small mortuary chapel within the northern section of the Smithsonian Castle. A marble copy of Smithson's memorial plaque from the original gravesite can be found on the crypt's wall. The featured item, however, is the large grave monument that stands near the crypt's eastern wall. It was retrieved from Smithson's original gravesite in Italy. The decorations on the urn, birds, leaves, snakes, shells, and more, are ancient symbols representing flight, victory, wisdom, power, and eternal rebirth. Inside the sarcophagus is a beautiful wooden coffin, and inside that lies a smaller metal coffin that is sealed shut. In 1973, one of the Smithsonian's forensic anthropologists, Lawrence Angell, studied the bones in this inner coffin. He was called the Sherlock of Bones because he helped the FBI solve crimes. For over 100 years, the institution that James Smithson envisioned has literally emerged around him. But even he could never have imagined how his investment in knowledge would grow, or the lasting impact the Smithsonian, his namesake institution, would have on the entire world.
Institute. All right. What we have here: history of New York, NYC's Grand Central Station. Grand Central Station, huh? Imagine that. But check it out. Officially named Grand Central Terminal, this busy New York City transportation hub and city landmark is more often called Grand Central Station by natives. Though that is technically the name of the subway station just underneath. Most Manhattan residents have passed through Grand Central on their way to a weekend outing in Connecticut or Westchester. However, some New Yorkers don't know much about the station's fascinating history or Grand Central's hidden secrets. Grand Central's beginning. The first Grand Central terminal was built in 1871 by shipping and railroad magnate Cornelius Vanderbilt. However, the original Grand Central soon became obsolete when the steam locomotives were banned after a catastrophic train collision in 1902 that killed 17 and injured 38. Within months, plans were underway to demolish the existing station and build a new terminal for the electric trains. The new Grand Central Terminal officially opened on February 2nd, 1913. More than 150,000 people turned out to celebrate the opening day. Blah, 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 blah. So there you have it. They're saying, this is like a backstory saying, no, it was definitely a terminal, but people, just the natives, called it that station. All right, any old way. Moving on. How about some Chick-fil-A? A recent Chick-fil-A residue. This one here, November 15th. John F.W.B. Church thanks teachers and staff. Says came in and presented them lunch with from Chick-fil-A, spelled the way that I remember it, CHIC-FIL-A. And so there you go, 5 days ago. Here's one from 2019, same way. Here's one 5 days ago. Chick-fil-A Bowl, the Chick-fil-A Bowl that happens every year. CHIC, no K, FIL-A. There you go, 5 days ago. That's a football story. A week ago, church provides meals. That's probably that same. I'll talk about that same one. Chick-fil-A lunch. 2 weeks ago, Chick-fil-A spelled with no K. Chick-fil-A Cliff Bar to create them. Something. Use face gaiters to raise awareness. Blah blah blah. About suicide or something. All right. So just a few there. I wanted to show you all of that. Here is one. That this is ESPN Radio 104 FM. It says definitely get to Albany International early. It's the only place in Capital Region you can get Chick-fil-A unless you're flying on a Sunday. Then just do what the TSA said. Chick-fil-A with no K, right there in that article. And right here, Chick-fil-A again. With all the election news, I believe that if a group of drive-thru employees at Chick-fil-A with no K had run this election, we would already know who the winner is. Ha ha, I know the winner. All right, there you have it. No K, just like I remember. And I used to say I eat at I eat at Chick-fil-A every day before they added the K. Yep. We have here Chick-fil-A again. This is November 3rd, 2020. Chick-fil-A in the article, the headline right here, and in the article. Chick-fil-A without a K to seek incentives. Bam. And in here, Chick-fil-A without a K. Imagine that. Lots of people remember it without a K, though it's never been without a K, they say. Hey. Bastards. All right. Finally, I've had those open for days. Those tabs open, waiting to share that with y'all. I was going to do it the other day, but never got around to it. Anyway, hey Silver, hey West Texas, Tobin, and everybody else. Rick Swain, hey. One type, and then I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there because otherwise I probably won't stay on much longer, but may stay on for another 30-40 minutes if somebody joins me or whatever, or that, who knows. But anyway, there you go. If anybody wants to join me, talk Mandela effect or anything else relevant. Just look over here, see if there's any more Mandela stuff. Mandela effect and who made it happen while played. Oh, did it one of my favorite games? No, I'm not going to watch you play a video game while you talk about the Mandela effect. That's annoying. The existence of the Matrix Mandela effect disclosed in 1977. Wow, that's interesting. You hear that? The existence of the Matrix plus Mandela effect disclosed in 1977. Let's see what this has to say. He looks familiar. Did PKD disclose the existence of the Matrix in 1977?
It's okay. It's okay. The subject of this speech is a topic which has been discovered recently and which may not exist at all. I may be talking about something that does not exist. Therefore, I'm free to say everything or nothing. I, in my stories and novels, often write about counterfeit worlds, semi-real worlds, as well as deranged private worlds, inhabited often by just one person, while meantime the other characters either remain in their own worlds throughout or are somehow drawn into one of the peculiar ones. This theme occurs in the corpus of my 27 years of writing. At no time did I have a theoretical or conscious explanation for my preoccupation with these pluriform pseudo-worlds, but now I think I understand. What I was sensing was the manifold of partially actualized realities lying tangent to what evidently is the most actualized one, the one which the majority of us, by consensus gentium, agree on. Later that day, back home again, but still deeply under the influence of the sodium pentothal, I had a short, acute flash of recovered memory. Then, in mid-March, a month later, the total body of memories, intact and entire, began to return. You are free to believe me or to disbelieve, but please take my word on it that I am not joking. This is very serious, a matter of importance. At that time, I had no idea what I was seeing. It resembled nothing that I had ever heard described. It resembled plasmic energy. It had colors. It moved fast. It collected and then dispersed. But what it was, what he was, I am not sure even now. In other words, it's a common theme in my writing that a dark-haired girl shows up at the door of the protagonist and tells him that his world is delusional, that there's something false about it. Well, this did finally happen to me. I even knew that her hair would be black. I had an actual complete sense of what she would look like and what she would say. She did appear. She was a total stranger, and she did inform me of this fact, that some of my fictional works were in a literal sense true. I wrote out these dreams in novel after novel, story after story. To name two in which this prior ugly present obtained most clearly, I cite The Man in the High Castle and my 1974 novel about the U.S. as a police state called Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said. I'm going to be very candid with you. I wrote both novels based on fragmentary residual memories of such a horrid slave state world. People claim to remember past lives. I claim to remember a different, very different present life. I know of no one who has ever made this claim before, but I rather suspect that my experience is not unique. What perhaps is unique is the fact that I am willing to talk about it. We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present, déjà vu, perhaps in precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words. I submit that these impressions are valid and significant, and I will even say this: such an impression is a clue that at some past time point, a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this, an alternative world branched off.
Wow. That's pretty crazy from the 70s to hear somebody talking like that. The 70s, y'all. Interesting. I don't even know who Philip K. Dick. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Philip K. Dick discloses the existence of the Matrix and the Mandela effect in 1977. Let's just see what this person has, what else they have. Reptilian stuff, flat earth man, videos library, truth outpost. Okay, well, we'll just bring in my description there. Wow, what'd y'all think of that? Hey, Memorial Gardens. David, what's up? Let's see. Dean, hey Dean, good to see you. Joe Dirt's in the house too. What's happening? Alright, let's see. Huge new Mandela effect. Wicked Witch's broom has changed, has 6 stripes. I haven't seen that one yet, but okay. Mandela Effect, the new Andy Griffith show. Huh. Yeah, I doubt there was another Andy Griffith show, but okay. Yep. Well, Red Under the Stars there, somebody. Here's somebody that thinks they can explain the Mandela effect. Y'all want to hear that? In 1 minute, too. Oh boy, we can give them 1 minute.
The Mandela effect is the theory that 2 realities can exist at the same time. There are 2 schools of thought on this, both involving a weed-smoking racist. In the first rendition, he developed the theory because for some reason he thought Nelson Mandela died in prison in the 80s, so he created a conspiracy theory to try to hide the fact that he was suffering from short-term memory loss. Others believed he kept getting Nelson Mandela mixed up with Morgan Freeman, so he invented the theory to try to prove to everyone he wasn't racist. Either way, this theory caught on amidst the droves of people in the grips of a terrifying psychosis. His family used to dread having him over for Christmas dinner because he'd start talking about the Mandela effect, and if he thought they didn't believe him, he'd walk straight through the glass door panel and make a sordid bloody mess on their new patio like he did last Easter. And they'd have to hide from the neighbours for at least 10 days.
Boy, that was some garbage. Good garbage. Residue of depends. That's interesting. I definitely remember being Depends. I stocked them on the shelves in many grocery stores, including the military commissary. Depends with an S. So where's his okay.
worth exploring, sometimes we can find new residue for old Mandela effects. And that's exactly what I'm here to talk about today as we explore the Depends Mandela effect. As you remember, way back in 2015, I believe it was.
It's 4:20. It's 4:20 here. 4:20. Okay, you know what to do.
The pens suddenly changed from the pens to depend. Apparently, you
Depend
can't
on
depend
these.
on the pens.
You can depend on these.
So you go and buy a box of Depend adult diaper or adult underwear. So the old joke used to go, as you all know and loved, how did that go?
He can't even remember.
You got to wear adult diapers? Well, it depends. Something like that. I don't know. I totally screwed up the joke. But the point is, no, wait. Why would people ask if you wear adult diapers? How did that joke go? Hey, man, you got to take a dump? Well, it depends. I don't know. There's so many variations of that joke. I really don't know how the real one went. But it depends, of course. Adult diaper joke, right? Everybody remembers that? Well, what if I told you? And I know there was probably a lot of residue found back in 2015 or 2016, whenever this Mandela effect first came out. But I was just up at my and spotted a box of Attends. And yes, it is called Attends and not Attend. These Attends are the generic version of the pens.
Oh, yeah.
So let's take a look at that right now. Let me go ahead and share my screen.
Share your screen.
All right, here we go. Oh, I forgot I got to bring it up first. Good. We'll go ahead and click. All right, get in here. Now I can share my screen because I actually have it on my screen. Okay, application window. Let me present. Okay, there you go. I'm presenting. This is Attends. Now, granted, this is a generic brand or it's an alternate brand for adult diapers, adult underwear, so to speak. But obviously they used the namesake, the pen, and they ran with it. Or in this, or in their, so, but they called their brand Attends. Now, why would they put the S on there? Why not just call it Attend? Why not just directly rip them off? If you're going to rip them off, like I'll say for an example, let's see, what's a good example? Sort of like aspirin would be, like the name brand would be aspirin. Well, actually, I guess aspirin is aspirin. Mouthwash would just be called mouthwash.
All right, y'all get it. So, I thought he actually found some residue of Depends, but he just found Attends. Okay. Oops, back away. JFK Mandela effect debunked again. Thirst for truth. That sounds familiar. Mandela effect. The point of views and purpose of this video is not to bully or harass anybody, but rather to share those thoughts, whatever. The magic bullet. JFK Mandela effect debunked again. Oh boy. More Than Flame 3 days ago says Mandela effect Bible Changes Explained, The Lion and the Lamb. Yeah. You're going to explain it, huh? I don't even know if I want to give him... I don't want to see that. But anyway. Area 51, New Mexico, Mandela Effect. The bananas Mandela Effect. How they grow now. Magic mirror or mirror on the wall. Welcome to Terra and Z Epsilon 6, Earth number 80, and the Mandela Effect. What the world? Okay, let's see what the heck's going on here. Sorry if you hear the baby. Sorry if you hear the baby crying. He's a little fussy right now. I'll mute if this is worth watching. So you don't have to hear the baby if you hear me.
Conclusions humbly made on this channel are true to my very soul. They cannot be proven.
It's loading.
Therefore, as far as you are concerned, it is pure conjecture on my part, so it should not be considered a truth by anyone.
There is lambs all under my naked feet. The wool is soft and warm, gives off some kind of heat. A salamander
He's a Globy.
into flame to be
Obviously.
destroyed. Imaginary creatures are trapped in birth on celluloid. The fleas cling to the golden.
Hello, welcome to Terrace of the Milky Way. My name is Dale Dufay, and welcome to Terra Z Epsilon 6. This is the 80th Earth that this channel has documented. And the reason I can say this is because sometimes when you look on Google Earth or Globe, or even an atlas or map, or sometimes in your own neighborhood, you'll notice variations and differences. And I usually don't proclaim that this is an entirely different Earth that we were born on, unless I see something that's very obvious, like a eureka moment, if you will. And in this case, because we have to keep in mind that most of these Orion dwarfers are virtually identical. You have to notice subtle variations and differences, and they're tough to detect unless you really look and pay attention. Of course, there may be things you overlooked, and that's probably the case more times than not. That's why I make sure that there's something drastically different to where I know it wasn't like this before on the previous Earth, say, Terra Z Delta 4 or 5. But this is like the 80th Earth that this channel has documented. Keep in mind that I know it's probably way more than that. Again, I try to be conservative in this regard because it's a very serious aspect, important aspect to all of what we're experiencing with the Mandela effect. So I don't want to try to, catch myself over sensationalizing this. And this is something we have to also keep in mind because, we can speak about this highly spiritual matter because it's regards our soul. And we could talk about it without being religious or theocratic because, the religions don't have anything to do with this. They don't want to even touch it, discuss it. And here it's one of the most important things to ever happen to humanity. In fact, I really do believe it was prophesied in Revelation chapter 10, verse 7, where it says that the sacred secret will be revealed. And in some translations, it even refers to it as good news. Or some translations, they refer to it as the mysteries of God. And this is supposed to be, just before the seventh angel sounds its trumpet. So this is very deep in the book of Revelation, which is all about the time we're living in now. So this is a very important part. This Mandela effect is ushering in a new age for humanity. But it's also revealing that our soul is splintered and fractured. It has to be. But that doesn't take away from the fact that our soul is still one. It's one you, and it's one soul in you. But the soul and you are splintered and fractured. I mean, it's quite obvious. That's what the Mandela effect is showing us. It's still you, but it's on a galactic scale. It shows just how grand creation and life has been all along. And could this be the sacred secret that has yet to be revealed until the end? The time, the end right now, the end of an age. I don't mean the end of humanity. In fact, this is just, again, this Mandela effect is just showing just how incredible us human beings are. And I would have never said that in the past, believe me. But the fact is the Mandela effect is revealing that the Milky Way galaxy is teeming with Earths with life on them as we know it. And it's us. It's just remarkable. It's allowing our soul portion, the one we'll always have, the one we were born with, to coalesce into other replica versions of ourselves that have been in existence since the day you were born, duplicating your life, or you have been duplicating their life. That's the thing about it. That's why it's all still one. It's one soul, but yet it's splintered and fractured into multiple replica versions of yourself. It doesn't get any better than that. It's still you. It's just that we're on a galactic scale now, not just a singular species on a singular Earth. It's revealing these incredible things, and stuff becomes obvious when you look on Google Earth and you see.
I think his name is still, yeah.
So different.
I'm just checking out his
like the southern coast here,
video
this
here.
area here. This was straight across pretty much on the previous Orion dwarf Earth. But all of the previous ones that we've been allowed to visit. Now, again, this is obviously not something that changed overnight. This part here, it's impossible, of course. There would be catastrophic results. So what else could it be? We're simply inside of a replica version of ourselves that was always born on this Earth that has always been here. This Earth has looked like this.
Yeah, he's a globie. Yeah.
Remember, of course, they do.
I'm guessing he's a globie.
At an infinitesimal rate,
Glober.
To where we, in a human lifetime, you could never notice the growth, but they obviously do, and they're very unique and very different, but yet unusually similar. That's the part that always gets me. But this part of Australia, the southeastern corner here, is so different. Tasmania.
And I just love it. All Sorry, guys, having trouble here. Only again, see that? That was still. And all time, I don't know who all time is, but 20 amazing Mandela effects, best of 2020. Huh. We want to watch. That's got 23,000 views already. 20 amazing Mandela effects. I will just glance at it. If it'll even play, might have to be still high. It appears we're still high. Nothing wants to load fast. Not even that. I need to get my other laptop fixed so I can get back hardwired. I'm just on Wi-Fi right now, but my Wi-Fi should be stronger than this. This drives me crazy. Sorry guys, it's just not cooperating. Oh, goodness. Well, so it's not working. Come on, it cannot be this slow.
Hey everyone, it is all-time here, and as the year 2020 begins,
Like I'm using the neighbor's Wi-Fi or something, you would think. Good grief. AT&T is not cutting it right now. They need to step it up. All Time has 126,000 subscribers. See these big channels, you know.
to thankfully wrap up, I'd like to look back at my best Mandela effects of the year. Consider this my best of 2020 video.
I feel it's fine. Well, I have 3 windows open. That's it. I'm struggling.
Video. In this video, I'm going to cover 20 of my favorite Mandela effects from the dozens and dozens of videos I made this year. If If you're new to the channel, this is a great introduction to All Time Scary. And after you've watched this one, check out my Best of 2019 video for 20 more incredible Mandela effects. Thank you all for watching and supporting me, as this channel couldn't exist without all of you. It's been a long and exhausting year. I'm tired, I'm sure you're tired, so I hope that this video can take away from the turmoil of the world for at least a little while. I'd also like to thank the Ridge Wallet for sponsoring this video. I actually use a Ridge Wallet as my wallet, so this was an easy sponsor to choose, but more on them later. Let's get right into this video.
Yeah. Do it.
The Serbian-American inventor, engineer, and futurist Nikola Tesla was one of the most influential minds of his time. The man behind alternating currents, radio control, wireless charging, a literal death ray, and even the ability to give wireless power to the entire world. These are just a few of the incredible inventions created by the genius Nikola Tesla. But despite all of these incredible accomplishments, I'm not bringing up Nikola Tesla in regards to his discoveries, but instead because he's tied to a fascinating Mandela effect. This effect is a two-part conundrum. The first part being, how did Nikola Tesla die? And the second part being, what age was he when he died? Again, how did Nikola Tesla die? Was it a car accident or a heart attack? And the second question is, what age was Nikola Tesla when he died? Middle age or old age?
I don't know. I don't remember.
The answers are now a heart attack and old age. Does that sound right to you? Plenty of people seem to remember an almost alternate version of history where Tesla died because he was hit by a car. Here's what, as of right now, actually happened. Nikola Tesla was struck by a taxicab while walking back to his hotel in 1937 at the age of 81. He somehow survived this, but refused to go to the hospital or even consult a doctor because of an immense fear of doctors and hospitals from an early age. As it goes now, Tesla lived on for 5 more years until his death at the age of 86 in 1943. His cause of death was ruled a coronary thrombosis, which is a blood clot in the heart, so to keep it simple, a heart attack. Although it is still true that the FBI collected all of his belongings 2 days after his death. This Mandela effect has tripped up a lot of people online. So now I'm curious to hear what all of you remember about the life and the death of the legendary Nikola Tesla. Tell me all your thoughts about him in the comments below.
It's Hyundai Holidays at Eastern Shore Hyundai. Drive remaining 20.
Batman is one of the most recognizable characters in the world. His look, backstory, and logo are iconic. So what would happen if one day it changed? Well, that is exactly what happened, and I'm here to get into more details. But first, let me ask you this question. Which of these is the logo Batman wore on his batsuit in the 1989 movie Batman? A or B? This answer is a difficult one because both are correct at different points in time. The correct answer is now A. As you can see, it has 2 extra points on the bat symbol. That's pretty weird. And weirder still, that altered looking logo isn't reflected anywhere else on any other media. Even the box art and poster for the 1989 Batman movie have just a single point on Batman's symbol. What about the bat signal that's projected into the sky at night in that movie? It's a single point. Even the Batman toys for the 1989 movie have the Batman symbol with only a single point at the bottom. It's as if this one tiny but prominent detail was changed in the film, but every other piece of media around it stayed the same. In fact, the 1960s Batman, a single point. 1992's Batman, a single point. On and on and on. All of them are the iconic bat symbol with just a single point, except the 1989 Batman batsuit. Even the 1989 Batwing, Batman's custom combat aircraft, has a single point as the tip at the end of his ship. So what do you all think about this? Such a weird change to such an iconic symbol that has been around for decades and decades. It makes no sense to me, but I'm super curious to hear what you all remember and how this makes you feel. Let me hear it in the comments below. Before we get to number 18, remember this big video is brought to you by the Ridge Wallet. I bet you never thought. Give a gift this year that a person will act and is a childhood classic to many in the United States. He was a snowman brought to life through magic. In a 1950 recording, but became a household name in his 1969 animated film debut. Frosty the Snowman is a memorable character, and if you ask most people, they can describe every detail about him. But miraculously, Frosty is now missing something. So here's what I'd like you to do. Visualize all of the accessories and clothing articles on Frosty the Snowman. Now, what do you see? Let's see what we've got. We have a button nose, we have two eyes made out of coal, and here's the Mandela effect. Which of these items did he never adorn in the 1969 film? An old silk hat? A corncob pipe? A red scarf? A broom? Frosty the Snowman has an old silk hat, a broom, and a corncob pipe, but has surprisingly never worn a red scarf. Do you remember a red scarf? For some reason, dozens of people online seem to remember Frosty the Snowman wearing a scarf, and most remember it being red. So where did it go? Why do so many people remember this detail that now seemingly doesn't exist? It's really interesting. Even some modern day Frosty the Snowman publications and media today show him wearing a red scarf. If you compare the past and the present, at some point some artist said, "Oh yeah, of course he has a red scarf," and drew Frosty with a red scarf. Does this prove he used to have a scarf and that the past has been altered in some slight way? Or is this just a massive case of misremembering an iconic childhood character? I'll leave that for all of you to argue over in the comments below. Oh, and before I leave this topic, check out this funny little detail. Look at what the kids are wearing in Frosty the Snowman. You see anything wrong with this image? Did the creative behind these illustrations grow up in a place without snow? Do they not realize it's cold? These kids are wearing shorts in a blizzard. Anyway. This next Mandela effect has to do with horses. With horses being mammals, this means, among other things, that they have hair all over. Long tails, a thick mane, and fur all over their body. But here's my Mandela effect question for you. Can horses grow mustaches? Yes or no? As unbelievable as it may seem, horses can now grow mustaches. I'm sure all of you knew that, right? Just look at these photos. Amazing. Apparently, some breeds are more prone to growing mustaches than others, but it can naturally occur across the board. Does that sound right to you? And have any of you out there seen a horse with a mustache before? It's Mandela effects like this that make me wish I grew up closer to the country, because I can't for the life of me remember ever seeing a horse with a mustache. I'm trying to visualize it, I just can't. So let me hear what you remember and what you know in the comments below. Next up, we have a spelling Mandela effect. This particular brand of whipped cream is no stranger to the Mandela effect, because people already remember its name's spelling changing previously. Well, it seems Reddi-wip is at it again, so here's my question. How do you spell Reddi-wip? Here's 4 options. Let me know which one you think is the correct spelling of Reddi-wip. Let's see how you fared. The correct spelling of Reddi-wip is Reddiwip. I'm not joking. Google it right now and you'll see it. Is this how you remember it? Or has the Mandela effect struck again?
Let me guess. You're too busy to watch this ad. Just like you were too busy to invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum. Oh.
For this next Mandela effect, we're going to keep things simple and straightforward. George Washington Carver is a man every American who attended public school has learned about. He's most known for the over 300 incredible uses of peanuts he discovered. Now, with all that in mind, was it George Washington Carver that discovered peanut butter? Yes or no? Like every memory of yours that I unintentionally destroy, this is yet another one to throw away. As it turns out, George Washington Carver did not discover peanut butter. And no, this isn't a simple he did, but it was actually discovered long before him and kind of forgotten situation. It turns out that 3 people discovered it before him, including the ancient Inca and Aztec civilizations. Does that sound right to you? If you're like me, you grew up learning that George Washington Carver found over 300 uses for peanuts, including his most famous discovery, peanut butter. Unfortunately, though, history doesn't seem to agree with this anymore. Am I the only one here with these now inaccurate memories? I hope not. Please let me hear all of your thoughts in the comments below.
Jiffy peanut butter. It was real.
Alcohol is consumed all over the world, and with so many manufacturers, it can be hard to really stand out and get your product noticed. The newly created vodka, cognac, and fruit-flavored brand Hypnotic was created in 2001, and it found it by creating a liquor that literally sparkled. Shaking up a bottle of Hypnotic created a glitter-like sparkle effect that became an instant hit. In fact, that's the only reason I personally know of Hypnotic. A friend saw it on a shelf and bought it, and no doubt, the sparkle makes it very memorable. And honestly, you can't say that about most liquors. So here is where the Mandela effect comes in. If you have ever had this drink before, or purchased a bottle of it, or simply seen it on a store shelf, the sparkle, the design, the name, it's all very memorable. So here's the question. How is Hypnotic spelled? Is it spelled hypnotic, hypnotic, or hypnotic? If you're like me, you remember it being hypnotic, with a Y and a Q. And that's understandable. It's a slight spelling variation of the word hypnotic so that they could trademark the name. But you'd be wrong. It's actually hypnotic, with that really strange spelling. That spelling is absurd. Not just in the sense that it's purposefully confusing, but it's a pain on the eyes. I've seen this drink hundreds of times. I've even held the bottle in my hands on multiple occasions. This is absolutely something I would have noticed. But here we are. Has Hypnotic always been spelled like this, or is this another example of the Mandela effect? Let me know.
Hi, Carrie. Hi, Tanette. Hi, Zilrin, Tobin.
Hey, I'm Talon, and this is Rumpus, and I'm going to show you how to start
Rick,
an online t-shirt business.
JJ. And hold on, I got an ad to deal with now. Let me see.
First, go to Shopify.com and start a free trial.
Ads are annoying.
Theodore Roosevelt was the 26th president of the United States and a historical oddity. Coming from wealth, he strangely enough battled corporate monopolies and founded the Progressive Party. Teddy, as he liked to be called, was an eccentric extrovert constantly needing to be the center of attention. The first soldier to fire a shot, the father of the modern-day Navy, as well as the nature conservation movement, Teddy was even a Harvard grad school dropout. As President of the United States, Teddy Roosevelt traveled all over the country, meeting and talking to people. One time he was giving a speech and he actually got shot. Instead of ending the speech and getting necessary medical help, he kept going for 45 minutes. The man did it all. He was even blinded in one eye during a boxing match in the White House. Do you think he quit fighting after that? Nope, he switched to jiu-jitsu. All this to say is that Teddy Roosevelt was the type of person to make this Mandela effect sound not rational, but believable. So here is the Mandela effect. Do you remember learning about or hearing about how Teddy Roosevelt boxed a kangaroo? Yes or no?
No, for me, I don't know. Yes, what? I don't know enough about him.
Well, if you did, you weren't alone. Turns out that Teddy Roosevelt never actually boxed a kangaroo. In fact, this weird memory that so many people seem to have, as of now, has no basis in history. It simply doesn't exist. Teddy Roosevelt was known for roughhousing and fighting, as well as leading hunting expeditions all over the world. The idea of him boxing with a kangaroo, it sounds absurd, but if anyone did it, it would have been him. Have you heard of this strange idea before? And if you have, where did it come from? The only residue I was able to find regarding this Mandela effect is a Futurama clip of Teddy Roosevelt's preserved head watching Bender the robot box a kangaroo. Teddy then makes a joke referencing all of this by saying, "Man boxing a kangaroo is a peculiar sight, but a kangaroo boxing a robot? Now I'm afraid you've lost me." This silly clip makes reference to this strange and remembered idea of Roosevelt at some point boxing a kangaroo, but as I said before, it seemingly didn't happen. So let me know what you think in the comments below, because this one is a strange one and I'd like to get to the bottom of it. The Hunger Games was a movie released in 2012 and was based off the 2008 book of the same name. The aspect of the film we're talking about today is the Battle Royale competition. A bunch of people usually spread out over a large map fighting to the death until there's only one person remaining. Well, our Hunger Games Mandela effect has to do with the one scene right before the Hunger Games start. Do you remember when all the participants are standing on their own individual platforms, waiting for the games to start? Do you remember the scene when someone stepped off of the platform early and blew up? Well, if you do remember that, apparently that scene never happened and doesn't exist. Now, I saw the Hunger Games back in the day, and this sounds familiar, but I'm more concerned with what you remember. Some have speculated online that this scene was in a parody movie called The Starving Games, but I've never seen or heard of that movie before, so that doesn't really explain why I have a memory of someone exploding in the Hunger Games movie. Another explanation is that the explosion may have been in the book, but not in the movie. Well, I don't have a copy of the book and I've never read it before, so that doesn't really explain it either. So what do you think? Is this just a weird, seemingly implanted memory, or do you remember this scene as well? Tell me all of your thoughts in the comments below.
Another ad, of course. Another ad every 2-3 minutes. Nice. Oh, these people are trying to make money on
Have a driver's license?
YouTube.
Clean driving record? Over 25? Awesome.
Where it is. Gotta reload every time after a stupid ad. I'm about to end the show, y'all. I'm so sick of this crap.
Back in 2004, the classic first-person shooter video game Halo 2 was released on the original Xbox. In Halo 2, the story was split up between two main characters, the Master Chief and the Arbiter. This Mandela effect has to do with the Arbiter and his armor design from Halo 2. This game being the introduction to the Arbiter, his design and look was iconic. It was permanently burned into the memories of everyone who played this game. But now, it seems like new details have appeared on his character model that, according to hundreds of people online, didn't exist before. So what do you think? Do you remember the Arbiter having this extremely detailed design in his pauldron? You see, the armor on the Arbiter is unique and memorable because of its strange design. One shoulder is raised much higher than the other. The raised side is always visible in cinematics as well as cooperative play. Somebody at some point would have surely noticed this delicate engraving before, right? These games are beloved. They're played over and over and over again. They're analyzed. There's dozens and dozens of YouTube channels dedicated to researching, studying, and playing these games. And no one's ever noticed this before? That's when this thought came to me. Halo 2 Anniversary is the remaster of the original Halo 2, and it came out nearly 10 years after the fact. I initially thought that this change to the Arbiter's armor could have been a visual upgrade or a redesign for the remastered version. But when comparing the two games, I discovered that actually the symbol is in both games. So what do you all think? I find it incredible that this very beautiful detail has never been noticed before in one of the most beloved and replayed games ever.
Who
People
cares?
have played Halo games for nearly 20 years, but this was just discovered. Is this a Mandela effect, or has this detail always been there? Let me hear your thoughts in the comments below.
And let's go to another ad. Watch.
Our next Mandela effect
Oh
has
my
to do with a
goodness, they
series
did.
of classic paintings by Cassius Marcellus Coolidge between 1894 and 1910. These paintings are known as dogs playing poker. I'm sure even the most casual art fan will recognize these paintings because they have been displayed in the backgrounds of numerous movies, shows, and quite a few bars. Here is the dogs playing poker Mandela effect. Did any of the dogs ever wear a transparent green visor? You know, this kind of hat. Yes or no? Despite the fact that a ton of people fondly remember these paintings of realistic dogs playing poker, no such painting exists with a dog wearing a transparent green visor. What amazes me most is that I can see the painting in my mind. I'm sure quite a lot of you can as well.
Yep.
So where did we get this visual from? I tried digging deeper into this case, and I haven't found anything yet. We all know these paintings were very popular, and I'm sure quite a few spin-offs and variations exist. But even then, I'm still unable to locate a painting with a green poker visor. So if anyone has any idea where this comes from, please leave it in the comments below. Together, we can hopefully solve this mystery.
Hey,
I
Dave.
have a challenge for all of you. Go to every computer in your house, your mom's, your dad's, your sister, your brother's computer, and install
What's another
quick
ad?
before you check out.
Oh.
Here's a strange Mandela effect. You
10
know how
ads in
companies
20
misspell
minutes.
words on purpose so that they can copyright the spelling? Lazy Boy is a good example of this. A couple more examples are Fruit Loops, Flickr, Play-Doh. I bring up this common corporate practice because our bonus Mandela effect is about a company's name and how they spell it. So, how do you spell the job hunting social media platform, LinkedIn? I'm sure plenty of you have made a LinkedIn page before when looking for a job, before you decided to ignore it indefinitely because it was pointless and it never resulted in a job. Is it spelled LINKDIN? Or is it spelled LINKEDIN?
I remember with the E, I'd say an E.
Even ignoring the weird fact that LinkedIn is now one word instead of two, people seemingly remember LinkedIn having a really weird spelling, with the E missing entirely. Well, that isn't the case anymore, and it never has been.
Huh. Well,
So
I
what do
took
you
the
think?
update
Do any
or
of these
something
Mandela
like
effects affect you? If so, let me hear it in the comments below. Let's talk about Around the World in 80 Days. This famous novel, released in 1872 by Jules Verne, captured the minds of readers the world over. At that time, the idea of traveling across the entire world for most was a near impossibility. But given our modern technology, today, the prospect of circumnavigating the globe is no more difficult than
It's not a
surviving
globe.
40 hours in a plane. Times have greatly changed. The feat was first accomplished in 1522 by Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan. But the sad reality of his journey was that of the 260 original crewmen, only 18 survived the journey, and it took them 3 years. All of this backstory to reiterate how exciting and thrilling Around the World in 80 Days was. This novel is still read by American students to this day. Due to this Mandela effect should hit a lot of people. So quickly imagine what the characters traveled in this novel. Have you come up with an answer yet? Here is my question. Did the characters of Around the World in 80 Days ever fly in a hot air balloon? Yes or no?
These are supposed to be amazing, and they're not so amazing.
In this novel, the main character and his companions used a transcontinental train, a ferry, a steamboat, and even an elephant. But surprisingly enough, they never once used a hot air balloon. Is that what you recall? If you remember a hot air balloon, you aren't alone. This Mandela effect is really confusing because there exist variations of cover art for this book with hot air balloons on them. And it's not just one book, there are dozens of examples of this. Now, this doesn't make any sense considering they never used a hot air balloon. Strangely enough, the hypothetical idea of using a hot air balloon is brought up in the novel, but it's quickly shot down. So what gives? Why in the 1956 film adaptation did they use a hot air balloon? Is it all simply creative liberties, or was the hot air balloon at one point in time used as transportation in Around the World in 80 Days? As always, let me know what you remember and what you believe in the comments below. Bridge to Terabithia is a 2007 coming-of-age adventure fantasy movie based on the 1977 novel of the same name. This Mandela effect has to do with the death of the character Leslie and how Jess, the other main character, finds out about her death. So my question today is simple. In the movie Bridge to Terabithia, did they show Leslie's accidental death? Yes or no?
You know.
The answer is no. They don't actually show the rope breaking and Leslie falling and hitting her head. Her death is simply explained by Jess's parents when he gets home. I don't have a strong memory either way on this Mandela effect, but a lot of people online did. It seems like every other comment is back and forth with the scene. Some argue without a doubt that it shows the rope break and that Leslie fell and hit her head, while others argue that it was never shown, only mentioned. One comment I read claimed to remember their kids crying when Leslie fell and how she had to explain over and over again, it's just a movie, it isn't real. So what gives? Some speculate that the movie may have been altered, that this death scene was originally in the movie but was later cut out because it was primarily for kids and young teens. So the question now is it possible that Bridge to Terabithia was altered post-release? Well, I looked into this and it's absolutely possible, but without studio confirmation on an edit, we can only speculate. Digging deeper into this mystery, I discovered the original runtime is listed on movie Showtime websites as 1 hour and 36 minutes. The digital copy that you can rent or purchase today has the exact same runtime. So an edit post-release is extremely unlikely unless they replace the missing footage with the exact same amount of extra footage, which seems really complicated and unnecessary. To believe that, we would need evidence of a new scene, and no one has mentioned that or talked about an extra scene in this movie. So as far as I can tell, this movie was not altered or cut.
Get out of here. They can just stretch
wherever
out
you
the
fall in this
credits.
Mandela effect, I'd love to hear your take in the comments. Do you actually remember seeing Leslie's death in Bridge to Terabithia? Or was it simply talked about but never actually shown? I'm so curious to hear all of your thoughts below.
Hi.
Here's
I'm Mike
another
Hussein.
ad
I'm the
for
co-
you. We love ads. Ads.
The Mandela effect not only alters the past, but can sometimes even create events that none of us remember living through or learning about.
This
Just
might
as
be
the
a good
Mandela
one.
effect can delete something like the Shazam movie that so many of us remember, it can also create. Building off this premise, does anyone remember how intensely awake and on edge America was after 9/11 back in 2001? It was one of the most terrifying tragedies that America had ever faced, and in its wake, the world watched and waited for what was to come next. Apparently, we didn't have to wait long, because 2 months later, on November 12, 2001, an airplane crashed in Queens, New York, taking the lives of 265 people. I'm bringing up this tragedy because a large number of people seemingly don't remember this happening at all.
Yeah, what?
Do you remember this? Apparently, American Airlines Flight 587, a commercial airliner, came down because of a mechanical failure and crashed in New York 2 months after 9/11. I don't remember anything about this, and I'm not the only one. I'm always a
That's
little
weird.
hesitant to bring up tragic events like this until enough time has passed so that we can look at them objectively and not through an emotional lens. This crash is obviously a disaster and a tragedy, but the Mandela effect simply poses the idea that some people may not have actually lived through this. That this event was real to some people on one timeline, but to others on another timeline, this potentially never happened. Anyway, I wanted to hear all of your thoughts about this. Is this an actual example of a Mandela effect changing history? Or is this simply a massive case of misremembering? Besides the strangely large amount of people online arguing this event's historical actuality, another interesting residue argument comes from an Atlantic article. This article titled, strangely enough, Remembering America's Second Deadliest Plane Crash. The author goes on to say, the second deadliest plane crash in American history took place just 2 months after 9/11, when American Airlines Flight 587 to Santo Domingo plummeted almost immediately after taking off from JFK. Continuing on in the article, the two authors mention something really interesting to me. I hope you find this quote just as fascinating. 10 years later, despite the magnitude of this disaster, it has been largely forgotten, overshadowed by the immensity of 9/11. This line is so strange to me. If this was the second worst airline crash in American history, why do so many people not remember this or even recall simple details regarding it?
What do y'all think? on
Because
that one?
remember, if you lived through 9/11 and you're old enough to understand what was happening, this event was burned into our consciousness. Most of us can remember where we were, who was there.
Hi,
and what was
Friendellas
happening.
or flat.
It was a deeply traumatic event. As for this plane crash 2 months later, I have no recollection whatsoever.
Weird.
Yes, my memory is but one.
You don't remember it, Rick, because you lived.
The world
you know,
after 9/11 was
up in the
vastly
Northeast.
different than it is today. We were all glued to our TVs every single day. There were no smartphones, no social media, no apps, no online games, nothing like that. All we knew was that bad people hurt us and that they might hurt us again. Shortly after 9/11, we even had a massive anthrax scare. This event should have registered. It should have stuck, but it seemingly didn't. One last interesting detail is that one article I found talked about this plane crashing into the water. How is a detail like that even arguable? Was this a massive mistake that somehow no one noticed and changed in the last 19 years? Or has this story changed multiple times thanks to the Mandela effect? I'll let you be the judge.
Wow. That was interesting. Of course, another ad. Sure, why not? Gee. More ads and shake a stick at. Come on, come on, and come on.
Next up is a Mandela effect that relates to the very popular video game Halo 2.
Another
This Mandela effect is
Halo
more of an
2 one. I'm
explanation and
over
not
it.
so much of a question, so I'm going to try and break it down as simply as I can. In every mainline Halo game from Halo 1
I don't care about the Halo game. I'm not a video game.
1 through 4, but now it doesn't. Somehow the first This game originally came out in 2004, yet somehow this has never come up before on the internet until this year. That's incredible, almost inconceivable. The first level is called The Heretic, and it's simply a cutscene, or an animated movie. But since this would be in co-op, it would just be playing for both players. As of now, you can't play that with another person. Even sitting in front of the same TV, if you say let's play co-op, and press start, they just skip the opening cutscene. It simply doesn't play. The second level is called The Armory, and this one is especially confusing because plenty of people have memories of playing this level with a friend, myself included. This is one of the craziest Mandela effects I've ever encountered because I have memories playing this level with my cousin when I was younger. I can see it clear as day. Both of us were trapped in that tiny monorail as it moved from one part of the level to another while we jumped around waiting to start shooting. This one is unexplainable. I just don't get it. There's even a comment I found with over 1,100 thumbs up. Somehow everyone is misremembering, and this is all a fabrication or something has changed. And 1,100, that's a lot of people. Did you ever play these levels in co-op, or have you never been able to? I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Let's talk about Lamb Chop, the strange but lovable sock puppet sheep. Lamb Chop was voiced by the late and great Sherry Lewis. Now, this puppet had a preschool TV show that ran from 1992 to 1995 called Lamb Chop's Play Along. The reason I bring up Lamb Chop is because of an iconic song that anyone familiar with Lamb Chop would know. The song is called The Song That Blank Ends. That is today's Mandela effect. What is the name of that song? Is it The Song That Doesn't End? Or is it The Song That Never Ends?
I don't know.
The correct answer is, shockingly enough, The Song That Doesn't End. Is that the title that you remember? Because that doesn't sound right to me. Strangely enough, if you look up this song on Google, most of the videos for this song are titled The Song That Never Ends. One of the few videos that I could find that actually had comments turned on was on Facebook. And that comment section was filled with confused people asking if anyone else remembers the song being Never Ends, not Doesn't End. Even the title of the Facebook video was The Song That Never Ends. I listened to the entire song, and it never says never. That's pretty weird if you ask me. So what do you remember? Is it the song that never ends, or have you always remembered it as the song that doesn't end?
Number 3. But an ad first, of course. We only have 10 more ads before it's over in 6 minutes.
We're talking about a strange detail regarding one of America's greatest. tragedies. September 11th, 2001. So what is that detail? Well, that's the Mandela effect. Do any of you remember a hotel being directly located in between the World Trade Center towers?
Yes.
I'm not talking about a nearby hotel or hotel down the street. I'm talking directly in front of them, visible in a ton of photographs from that day. So to rephrase this more clearly, was there a hotel located between the Twin Towers? Yes or no?
Yes. Rick Swain will say no, though. I bet that.
The answer is yes. Strangely enough, if you look up photos of the World Trade Center, you'll now see a Marriott hotel residing there.
5 minutes to
Marriott
4:20
World Trade
somewhere.
Center, aka WTC-3. It was located between the North and the South Towers and now is distinctly visible in a ton of the 9/11 photographs. Supposedly, this hotel was built in 1981 before its destruction in 2001, but it's only recently gained in Mandela effect popularity as the discussion around it builds. What I really find interesting now are the pictures of the towers. The image is iconic, it's burnt into the minds of anyone born before the tragedy. But now there is what seems to be an extra building residing between them. It just looks out of place. What do you think? Is it possible that the thousands of people online discussing this simply never noticed the building before? Or is this actually a Mandela effect to you? Regarding this mysterious hotel that a lot of people said didn't exist before, but others said did, it's fascinating nonetheless. I will leave it up to the diehard believers and non-believers to argue about in the comments below. This one is all in your hands. Let's go back in time to when breakdancing first started. Most people believe that breakdancing started in the late 1970s and early 1980s in New York City. I'm pretty sure that's what you remember as well, right? Early hip-hop culture and that style of dancing were intertwined together. But now it seems that breakdancing's origins have been rewritten. In fact, we now have evidence of breakdancing all the way back in the 1930s. Yes, the 1930s, 40 years before its reported origin. I'm not joking, I'm not pulling your leg. Here is a video clip of people breakdancing all the way back in the 1930s. Prepare to have your minds thoroughly confused.
That's not the 30s there. Oh, that is. Could be, yeah. Wow.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but then again, a lot of this doesn't make sense to begin with. So I'm going to post a link to the full video in the description box below. Be sure to check it out. It's a very strange video. Before we get to number one, if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, and share it around. Also, real quick, if you didn't already know, I have 3 other channels. All Time 2, which is the much more scary channel. All Time Games, which is obviously about games. And All Time Movies, which is all about movies. Obviously. So yeah, some could argue maybe that's a little too much. What started as a bright and sunny morning turned to tragedy in an instant and continued to get worse as the day went on. But strangely enough, we aren't talking about the obvious details regarding that horrible day. We're actually talking about a concurrent event that will hopefully confuse and bewilder some of you. Did you know on September 11th, 2001, New York City was supposed to get hit by a massive hurricane named Hurricane Aaron? Here's one of the reported images of this hurricane from back then, and as you can see, it's massive. Does any of this sound familiar? Do any of you remember hearing about a hurricane about to hit New York City on the same day that the towers went down? It had been heading on an impossibly straight line for New York City for 4 to 5 days. The closest it got to landfall was the coast of New York. Supposedly, Hurricane Aaron's size was comparable to Hurricane Katrina, and its power was comparable to Hurricane Sandy.
Country kids on this Tuesday, the night of the Latin Grammys. Sunny skies down through Texas, all the way from the bottom of Texas to the top of North Dakota. Little rain to the right of North Dakota. Parts of North Dakota may see a little rain. To the west of the country, no problem. To the east of the country, no problems except down in Florida, a little rain. Other than that, it's kind of quiet around the country. We like quiet. It's quiet. It's too quiet. That's a quick look at the Nashville forecast. Here's an early look at your weather.
Hurricane Aaron got so close to hitting that thunder and rain were reported at JFK Airport, Newark Airport, as well as LaGuardia Airport. So why don't any of us remember this massive hurricane hitting New York City? Why did all of the 9/11 photos and videos show bright and sunny skies? Well, apparently right before landfall on the morning of September 11th, 2001, Hurricane Aaron did a near unprecedented turn of 150 degrees and just flew off into the ocean. It's as if Hurricane Aaron realized that enough tragedy was going to happen that day, it just decided to leave. Do you ever remember hearing about Hurricane Aaron, or have you ever heard anyone discuss it ever since? I came across this while doing some research for my last video, and I can't help but be amazed. A hurricane with such insane power and size was about to strike on the same day as America's biggest tragedy, but instead turns around and disappears, only to never be talked about or mentioned again. This one, I don't even know what to say. As always, let me hear all of your thoughts about this one, as well as...
Very interesting. Mandela effect proof? Question mark. Parallel universe Mandela effect. Mandela effect no more explained. God's favorite slave. Really, dude? Is anyone among you in trouble and influence? So he thinks he can explain away the Mandela effect. So let's just see what this guy has to say here real quick.
You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. There's something wrong with you. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter.
Hey guys, it's me, your favorite slave, aka God's favorite slave, and I wanted to shoot this video now for a few weeks. Basically, I think I owe everyone the explanation why I stopped with the Mandela effects videos. In my point of view, we have bigger issues than to watch the show of the magician. In my point of view, the Mandela effects, they are more distracting. They are more distracting us at this current moment, in this current moment of time, because we really have bigger issues. We really have bigger issues. Bigger issues like, you know, they wanna hook us all up to the internet, and they wanna use cryptocurrency mining. They wanna use our bodies for cryptocurrency mining.
My bad. So he's not explaining it away. He believes in it. He's just saying there's more important things to be paying attention to.
Mining. And just this morning, as I was doing the school run, I got again reminded by my son, by coincidence.
Hey, Daryl.
As you all know, I don't really believe in
West
coincidences.
Texas.
There's no such thing as coincidences. I was reminded by my son that we are living in a world of lies. When you walk out through my door, just before you walk out through my door, there's a map, and my son, he started laughing. He said, "Dad, this map is so wrong." I'm like, "What do you mean, son?" And he said, "Well, Russia is bigger than Africa on this map. Actually, Russia is bigger than 2 continents put together." And yeah, he just reminded me that we are living in the world full of lies. Basically, they get us very young, you know, and they start with this propaganda of lies, you know, confusion, deceit. They basically lie to us, so we never find out who we are, what we are doing here, and they're hiding God from us. You know, they're simply put down as simply and plainly as it gets. They're hiding from us. And there is glorification of Satan, Lucifer, Baal going on absolutely everywhere. You know, the pyramid system, absolutely absolutely everywhere, you know, in the music industry, in the film industry, absolutely
424,
everywhere. I mean,
425
it goes
somewhere.
this far that we have Satan after school clubs, you know. There are actually in this world existing Satan after school clubs. Send your child to Satan after school club
No thanks.
so your child doesn't get no bullet no more. I mean, Illuminati games, you know, Illuminati opening ceremony of this tunnel in Switzerland. Few hours long Illuminati ceremony, which probably lasted months to prepare, you know. And what do we get to see? They wanna break the veil. CERN again, the logos, 3 sixes. Out of all the logos, they had to put in 3 sixes. You know, obviously they have to make sure that they
Data junkie
this is ridiculous. All of
commented
this is
on
becoming
here.
ridiculous. I mean, what is the future for us? What does the future hold for us? To be chipped and numbered like the cattle, to be pumped up with nanobots. For what reason? For what reason? To be hooked up to the computer so they can have total control over us, and then use the cryptocurrency mining, use our bodies for cryptocurrency mining. You know, I was asking myself, I mean, you all know that COVID-19 translates to 666 AI. And I was asking myself, why on earth would they want to use even our bodies for cryptocurrency mining? Isn't it enough that they can use all the servers there are for cryptocurrency mining? You know what? There must be something going on with this cryptocurrency. There must be something going on. Are they trying to put some code together? You know, some really big heavy code, you know, and break the code of our reality? Is that what it
Open
is?
open the abyss.
They have to. I mean, they are paying you now. How much is a Bitcoin? You know, what is Bitcoin chain? Bitcoin chain is basically a very hard and difficult code to mine and crack. So now if you crack one of the codes, okay, if you crack it, that's a Bitcoin. And that Bitcoin right now, for that Bitcoin, they pay you 30 grand. Yeah, 10, 15, 16, 18, depends on. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, but we're talking about multiple thousands that they pay you for cracking one single code. And now they want to use the entire world's population to go search hunting the codes. What is going on there? Those blockchains, what are they actually? Are they something that they need to crack and put together? I mean, how desperate you have to be if you decide all the Earth's nuclear plants are not enough and all the Earth's computers aren't enough for cryptocurrency mining, okay, for cryptocurrency. You know, they call it cryptocurrency, but really it's a blockchain. It's a code, very complex, difficult code. So how important this code has to be that you don't just rely on all the Earth's resources, but you have to go ahead and use and try to use every single human in this reality to keep mining for the code. This cryptocurrency mining that they are saying it's cryptocurrency mining, I don't feel like this is all there is. I feel like they're trying to crack the code of this reality. I mean, CERN, you know, out of all the statues there are, they have to put Shiva there, you know, they have to put Shiva there, the destroyer of the worlds, you know. And what are they trying to do in CERN? What have they announced that they're gonna do in CERN? Well, they're gonna break the veil. That's what they said, that they are going to break the veil, that they are shortly before of breaking the veil. Well, perhaps they won't, but
And I think they use CERN as a big Ouija board.
what I'm trying to say is they're not stopping just at CERN, you know, this multi-European project or whatever, Collider, Hadron Collider, etc. Yeah, they're not just stopping there. They're going this far that they want to use every single one of us for code cracking. So what? Cracking the code to this reality? Has our creator placed some codes inside of us? Has our creator, when he created this reality, perhaps this reality is digital. You know, the quantum physics tell us that this reality is energy, sound, and vibration. Nikola Tesla told us that this reality, all there is sound, frequency, vibration, right? So are they trying to use all of us to break the code to this reality? And then why break the code to this reality? I know that they have hacked this reality. I understand that Satan has hacked this reality and that he has enslaved many, you know, a lot of them by their free choosing, you know, because they were promised riches, fame and riches, you know, and bitches, and a lot of fallen for it. I mean, a lot of them sold their souls, and they speak about it openly, that they sold their souls. To whom? To Satan, you know. He is buying their souls. Satan is buying their souls, you know. And now Satan wants to chip and number every single one of us, you know, so they can
All right, so what he's saying there, real quick, because my daughter and grandson are so loud. What he's saying there, basically, guys, is that he just thinks, you know, for him or for all of us, I don't know, whatever, that he's not going to focus on the Mandela effect anymore. He knows it's real, but that we're so close to the beast system trying to chip everybody. Good grief! I'm sorry about my daughter yelling, playing with her son, my grandson. But she's being silly and loud. And she knows I'm live. But anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to probably have to wrap this up. But yeah, I'm not going to play his whole video here. But this guy's got 221 subscribers. I'll subscribe to him just to make it 222, the number that's followed me around for so long. Anyway, I'll drop the link to this in the chat if y'all want to finish watching it. Yep. All right, so that's about it, folks. I'm glad y'all came, and really appreciate every one of y'all. Man, she's got more energy than I have when I was her age. Okay, anyway, so I appreciate you guys, really I do. Hey, good to see you. I wish I could stay on longer, but it's just, I'm not going to be able to over talk her loudness. And all right, guys, I'll be back soon. I don't stay gone long, and just wanted to do something a little different today, and not just hammer, down the fact that tribulation period is coming soon, and we should repent, prepare, watch, and share the truth until the end. But I'm gonna hop off of here, and I gotta go pick up some homemade chicken noodle soup that some friends made for us. So I'll run down to my sister's and pick that up, and y'all have a blessed one. It's Friday. Maybe I'll be back tonight because I'm more than likely I'm usually here alone on the weekends, and so who knows? Maybe I'll come back tonight and we will continue on with our fellowship and covering the news and stuff. All right, God bless you all. Tommy here. Tommy.